Hey y'all, my name is Jasmine Jones and I am a licensed clinical social worker. You are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild, and this is a little show I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. And today we are reviewing They Cloned Tyrone, and we are sipping on some sake that one of the people in my office building gave me because she's new in the office building and she wanted to give me some sake, and it was very nice of her. She's a Reiki healer. I'm not sure exactly what Reiki is. She explained it to me, but I'm still a little confused. But she gave me a complimentary Reiki healing session if I wanted to take it. So thank you. Oh, it tastes like vinegar. Yes. I'm not an alcohol drinker. That's not my substance of choice. So no alcohol is really going to taste good to me. And then if it tastes just like juice, I'm suspicious of it, because then it's like those are the ones that'll creep up on you, and then you're running around yelling at people or crying or passing out at 3:00 in the morning because you had like 6 cups of something you thought tasted like juice. So but I appreciate the gesture. So anyways, I watched They Cloned. Well, I watched it when it first came out, and so I watched it again a few times just to kind of get an idea of like what I wanted to talk about in it. And basically, it's like this mix of Scooby-Doo and Nancy Drew and Hollow Man and blaxploitation movies and homage to that. It's a good movie. I really like it, and I really like how it uses like sci-fi science fiction premise while still integrating like the cultural aspects of being Black. It's magical. So this made me look up like concepts like the Willie Lynch letter and things like that, mainly just the Willie Lynch letter, because I wanted to compare and contrast how we're still experiencing the same things and how this movie, in a fun science fiction way, continues to show that we are still basically in the cycle of trauma from slavery. It's just updated, and we're just being bamboozled and brainwashed in a different way than being, out in the field picking cotton and being murdered on a regular basis. We're still murdered on a regular basis, but back then it was just indiscriminately, like all the time. It's a horror show. So this movie is about Fontaine. I looked up why they called him Tyrone, why the title is called Tyrone when Tyrone doesn't end up popping up until the after credits. And then I thought the like old version of him was the original like Tyrone, and that was the dude. But no, apparently the director's like, it was like a joke and he was being a contrarian or something. So the Tyrone at the end apparently doesn't mean anything. From what I'm gathering, it just was meant to be funny. I don't know 100% if that's true, but from what I read, it was meant to be funny. So Fontaine is this drug dealer that lives in this place called the Glen, right? And this is just like, it starts off regular hood movie. He's, collecting his money from his, the people that owe him money for the drugs. I don't know. I grew up in the hood. I try to stay away from things like that. But so he's collecting money from the people that owe him the drugs. He picks up this kid. The kid is his little neighborhood snitch. She's like all of 10 years old. Well, we got to bring the children into the hood things, but you know what? Whatever. This is a part of the traumas that we've experienced, that where we're under the cult of white supremacy. We've been for the past 400 or 500 years or some shit. So, these things we've normalized because we're still in survival mode as a culture. And so a lot of these things people won't agree with because they are so deeply enmeshed in the survival mode of white supremacy that they believe it. Just like anybody that's being abused would believe the abuse is real and this is valid and it's okay just to survive. I was reading, you gotta read Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. And basically she's in there talking about how like trauma has been passed down, epigenetics from slavery and things like that. But she mentions how culture oftentimes can be an amalgamation of trauma that the culture has experienced, and in order to survive, people within that culture has normalized the behavior so that they can like be okay, so that they can survive, basically. The sake strong, girl. And so a lot of the things that we have integrated into our culture that tends to be related to trauma tends to be things that forces people to do things that they don't want to do, tends to be things that involve a lack of acceptance for differences of people. Like if you take arranged marriages, like some cultures have that, but that can evolve into traumatic situations when you're involving children, or you're just involving people that don't want to have an arranged marriage. And then depending on the family, if you're forcing the person to then do it, there are people that actually want to do it and they enjoy it. It's like people that are Muslim that wear the hijab or wear the full burqa and shit, and it's a choice. The goal is to give people choice to, if they want to involve themselves in certain cultural practices, and then getting rid of the cultural practices that are harmful altogether, like female genital mutilation. That we don't need that. We don't need that. Is something that's not something that we need within any culture. You're deforming children. So, you know, we got the baby in the car and he's a snitch, and he tells him where the person that owes him money for the drugs is, and then he runs him over with his car while the baby is in the car watching him. And this baby, while they're going to find this nigga, the baby is talking about like SpongeBob. And so we're just showing that this is a child. He's sitting there talking about SpongeBob, but then you see how he just immediately clicks over into like survival mode, hood mentality, kind of like dissociative, but like by making the whole situation of him running that nigga over with a car okay. And then the child is like mad because he only gets $5 for snitching, and the dude is just like, no, go home, do homework. Like, he doesn't want to fully involve him in the gang shit. He just wants him to snitch sometimes, but like they can retaliate against a child. Like, it don't matter, like you just want him to look out and snitch and shit. He's a snitch. Like, I don't know. So the child wants to get put on, and he's like, no, go home, do your homework. And so the child leaves, and then he goes back to his little house, and then he finds out that he doesn't have enough money. Like his little hoodlum friends that went out to collect money didn't collect all the money. And so Slick Charles is Jamie Foxx's character, right? So Slick Charles didn't give in his payment for the dope that he bought, that he got from him, or whatever, however the fuck drug dealing works, okay? I'm just like, are we giving it on loan to people, and then once they sell the drugs, then they give us the percentage of the money that they owe? Or do they buy the drug from the distributor? Do they just buy the drugs from the distributor and then sell the drugs based off of how? I don't know, because I've seen both scenarios in different movies. I don't know how it actually works on the streets. I'm not a part of that life. That life never excited me. That seems scary and reckless, and you know, I don't even like guns. I went to a shooting range once, and it scared the shit out of me just to shoot it one time. I was just like, you know what? This is rattling my nervous system too much. I need to put this down. Okay, so he goes to Slick Charles' motel room. He's the pimp, and he has his prostitutes in there. And he's like, give me my money. And so Slick Charles, with some razzle dazzle and some flair, gives him his money, right? And so like he leaves, and he's in his car about to leave, and then a car pulls up behind him. So the dude that he ran over earlier and broke his leg, he called the main nigga, and the main nigga is the dude from P Valley. You know, like, he's a good actor. I like him. He has this one-man show that I want to see because it looks interesting. But it's in Miami, and I'm not going to Florida. Like, I'm not going to Florida. Every time somebody mentions Florida, I just cringe. I'm just like, oh no. I don't want to go anywhere in the South that's not, you know, like, what is it? New Orleans. That's the only place I want to go in the South at this point, at least during this administration, you know, and depending on who the administration is after, I don't know. But, you know, it's in Miami, so, but it looks good though. But anyway, so he's like the lead gang member person or whatever. He's the whatever. And so he wants to retaliate against Fontaine for running his nigga over. And so he like they shoot him. He's dead, right? He gets shot up in his car a bunch of times and shit like that. And the next thing, he's waking up in his bed, right? So now it's like, what's going on? This nigga just got shot 11 times in the chest, in the body, all that things, that bad things happen when you are involved in street violence. And this isn't a judge. I'm not judging because, like, from reading up on this, apparently it's like a different dimension. That's what people are assuming because they have flip phones, but they're talking about Bitcoin. So people just assume that this is just another timeline. It's a different dimension or some shit. So, like, whatever time period they're in at this point where there's Bitcoin but flip phones, like, people are struggling still, you know, and they're going through stuff still. And, you know, when you have been told that you ain't shit, or you've been made to feel like you ain't shit, and you've been brainwashed into believing that you ain't shit, why try harder? Why try to succeed? You know, a lot of us do not have the mentality, the mental health to fight against the bombardment of white supremacy in every area of our lives. Okay? So some of us do. You know, like for me, I just kept my head down and I just studied. I didn't care what nobody told me and shit. Fuck you, bitch. I see what happens out there in them streets. I'm not living like that. The fuck? So if I got to deal with you being white and weird and shit until I get to where I'm going to go, that's better than getting shot. It was mentally stressful and emotionally abusive and all sorts of shit with these white people, but it's better than ending and getting shot. Because look at where I am now. It's nice. It's a nicer place, and I can have more control of my life. So you know what? I'm not judging, because if I was just a little more weak-minded and a little less able to like deal with my emotions and shit, I'll probably end up there too. But you know, I'm just saying it because I don't know the semantics of what's going on with the street stuff. So I don't nobody coming on here and be like, that's not how. I don't fucking know how it does. Okay. I'm doing my best. Okay. So anyways, like, he goes back, he basically repeats the day. And then he in his mind, he's repeating the day. And then he goes and he collects money from Sweet Charles again, Jamie Foxx character. And he has the chick from Marvel there. What's her name? So her character's name is Yo-Yo. And so she's there. She's one of the prostitutes, but she has like dreams and aspirations and shit. So she doesn't want to be that forever. She's the one that first brings up Bitcoin and shit. So he tries to collect money from Jamie Foxx again, but Jamie Foxx is like tripping out. He's like, are you the ghost of Christmas past or some shit? The fuck is going on? And so like Jamie Foxx basically tells him, nigga, you got shot the fuck up. Like, you got shot up. I don't know what happened, but it happened. And so this nigga's like, what are you talking about? So Yo-Yo comes in and he's like, did you see me last night? Da, 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 da. And so she's telling him like she saw him and then she heard gunshots, but I don't think she saw him get shot. But I think she saw like this suspicious van or some shit come pick him up or some shit. I don't know, something. So she knows where the van is parked. And so they go and then they go to the house where the van is parked. And then they go inside and it looks like a trap house. Like there's a break room in the house with a cup of coffee and random shit. And then they find this elevator that goes down into this laboratory and they find his shot up body and this weird ass looking white dude with an afro, right? And it's like a laboratory. And so they looking around and then Jamie Foxx finds this pile of white powder and sniffs it and starts giggling. And then Yo-Yo sniffs it. And this nigga, Fontaine, just trying to look around and figure out what's going on. And he's trying to question the white dude, right? And so what happens is that like Fontaine and Yo-Yo start giggling and shit. And then all of a sudden Yo-Yo breaks something and then Fontaine ends up like, he makes him hold the dude down with the gun and he ends up shooting the dude and killing him. But after that they find the body. The body's over there of his other self. And this shit fucks me up because I just feel like just like in Black Mirror and shit, this cloning shit, like they make it seem like in Black Mirror, like you are copying your brain to something else so you're still alive, right? And then in this show I watched, it's called Years and Years and Years, the basically the end of the show is one of the main characters gets her brain copied into the computer and she's like still alive, right? They're not copying your soul, honey. That's why I like how cloning was illustrated in this. These are different people. Like, you may have the same memories, but these are different people. They're not copies. So the original you, that you feel, that's dead. If you that one, like, I was watching that movie on HBO Max, Mickey 17. I might read the book. There's a book, it's called Mickey 7. That's what it's based off of. And it's basically like this dude, and he's like, they're in outer space in the space station, and he's like the expendable person, right? So every time he dies, they just clone another one of them and give him his memories, right? But I like how they illustrated it though, because eventually something happens to where there 2 clones make it out, and the rule is only 1 clone can be alive. Both of them niggas are different fucking people. So by the time they get to Mickey 17 and Mickey 18, the original Mickey, the first nigga, is dead. So you just killed yourself. Like, the consciousness of life and your experiences in your environment that are solely individual to you, that's gone with you, nigga. Like, these are just copies. Like, if I copy, like think of it this way. Every time you copy a picture, so like you copy the picture file on your computer, every time you copy it, it loses some of its resolution. Maybe not enough to be super noticeable, but it loses some of its resolution every time you copy it. So when I see shit like that, I'm just like, so you want me to kill myself and have another me that's not me walking around? That's what you're telling me. Don't clone me. Don't clone me. Don't do that. That's another person. That's like having a twin. That's another bitch. Like, that ain't me. That's why every time I think about cloning, I'm just like, that is horrible. That's another person. Like, no ma'am. You telling me to kill myself. And so when them episodes of Black Mirror and the years and years and years show, like, you really gotta not believe in your conscious self. Like, even if you don't believe in a soul, your conscious self is innate to you. You ain't gonna wake up in your clone, bitch. You're not gonna wake up in the computer system and be the same conscious self that you were in your body, love. They're making a copy of a file of you. That's different than your actual conscious self that came with you when you were born. That's why it's fucked up. So I like how they illustrated it in this movie and in Mickey 17, and showing that the clones have different personalities. They're slightly different. And so they're not him, the original him. But come to find out, he wasn't ever really like, so he was the original him is there, but he's like a part of the whole system and stuff. But like, the clone version of him is his own separate self. And that's the thing too. Like, if it was you and another person, if they had just switched you over to another person and you were still the same person that you originally were, the old version of him and his clones will all be the same. They all act different. They all can be persuaded by different things. They all can form their own ideology of what the world is. Basically, you being asked to kill yourself, love, and let them copy you and your memories and shit and put you into somebody else that may be even a little bit more moldable and malleable than you were. So just be aware of that. So anyways, they realize there's clones and shit, right? So they go and they like tripping out. They don't know what to do. So they go and get something to eat. They go and get some fried chicken, right? So they're sitting in and talking and trying to figure this shit out. And then Fontaine starts laughing. Now, Fontaine has this like flat affect, just kind of monotone voice, and he's not super emotional and stuff, right? You would think I would say autism, right? No. This nigga is new in the world, and the only script that he has in his brain is to be a drug dealer. So he has to form a personality outside of the script that they gave him. So this is only the first few days of life, like a newborn and shit. So he is going to be robotic, and it is going to be awkward and weird for him because he hasn't formed who he is outside of the script of I'm a drug dealer. So it's awkward, it's weird, but you know, he's getting there and he figures it a little bit out at the end, and he goes off with Yo-Yo and Charles and to Memphis, Mississippi, something with an M, and they figured it out. But anyway, so they're sitting there eating chicken, and he's noticing that Fontaine's laughing, and Yo-Yo's laughing, and everybody in the restaurant's laughing, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Then he realizes that they putting that white powder into the chicken, right? So they see the manager at the chicken spot is like the same type of white dude with an afro as the one in the lab, right? And so they go, and Yo-Yo goes and seduces him so she can get into his office, and basically can see on all the security cameras that there's cameras in people's homes all over the city, right? And she's like, "What the fuck is this? This is weird," right? So then they see like one of the white vans that's carrying the stuff that they use to poison us, and they follow it, and then they find that, oh, they're putting this shit in the perm, that stuff that we use, the lye that we use to perm our hair. They're putting this stuff in grape juice that you know, black people drink a lot of different types of juices. I don't know where the stereotype of grape juice came from. Maybe it came from Kool-Aid and people buying the grape Kool-Aid. I don't fucking know, but like, they're putting it in the grape juice, right? And so they're trying to figure out like what to do next, to how to save the neighborhood, how to stop the people from getting cloned and shit like that. So basically they're not just cloning people. So the clones are to maintain the hood stereotypes in the neighborhood, the drug dealers that keep you like in fear all the time. The pastor at the church is a clone, and it's David Allen Greer, and that's to keep you like passive and apathetic. Like when they put the relaxer on the woman's hair, and she started complaining about the school, she was complaining about the school and how there's not enough funding for school and for the teacher and for the kids. And as soon as like they started doing the relaxer, she just became very apathetic and stopped caring, because that's what they want. They want you to be apathetic and not care and not do anything. They want you to be cattle, like chattel slavery. They want us to be like that. And you know, I thought it was interesting. So this is what I started thinking. I started looking up like the Willie Lynch letter and shit like that, and I was just like, this is the same thing, but it's just different. And they still do it to this day, but like they don't have the technology to clone us and shit. I had to realize as I was getting older and seeing that our leaders are actually very, very dumb. And the fact that this man has gotten in office and has stopped the production of science and research and experiments and things that would push us forward in the world, and realize that we don't have that technology. They're just going to keep brainwashing us. Like they took away Job Corps. That was the program that was helping at-risk youths and people in low-income neighborhoods prepare for the workforce. They gave them a place to live if they didn't have a place to live, and things like that. It helped prepare them for the workforce, and so that they can be doing better with their lives. They don't want us to succeed. They want us to be afraid. They want us to be in the box that they put us in. So like, I'm gonna read some of the stuff that I got from the Willie Lynch, and let me know if it resonates with some of the things that are happening today in the world. So one of the things that I noticed was, this is the Willie Lynch letter. So on the top of my list is age, but it is there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, size, plantation, there is intelligence, size, plantation, status on plantation, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley, on the hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action, but before that I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generation for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks, but it's necessary your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kits are the keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity if used intensely for 1 year. The slaves themselves remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. So basically, the seeds of distrust that are sown into us has gone back since slavery. The seeds of finding things that we can use against each other, because it's like you said, it's easier to let the machine keep running by itself than then checking on it here and there to keep influencing with what is it, with subliminal messages and shit like that, than to just actively keep cracking the whip and shit and putting on all that extra work. Literally, they treated us like animals, like horses. In the letter, he compares us to horses. Like, let's see. So he says, understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking process of the female nigger. We have reversed relationships. In her natural uncivilized state, she would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male, and she would have a limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring, and would raise the female offspring to be dependent like her. Nature had provided time with this balance. We reverse nature by burning and pulling one civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal calls her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reverse roles for fear of the young man's life. She will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent. What have you got? So there is truth to stereotype. They purposely try to make it so that that's what emotional incest is in mothers, you know, when they do that to their sons. That's why we have the strong black women stereotype in our community. We're breaking out of that, okay? But while black women are, and I think that's why a lot of black men are spiraling, because, you know, they've been broken down so much, like, you know, with slavery, with, you know, Jim Crow era, with what is it? Fuck. Civil rights movements. We had a moment there. Then the Black Panthers came. We had a moment there, but then they came and put drugs in our neighborhood and killed all the Black Panthers and put all of our men in jail. They had to do a full sweep to destroy the men in our community. And us as women were left alone for a long period of time, from like the 70s to the early 2000s, with our men in jail because of these drug charges and things like that. A lot of us black women this was on purpose. Like, you read that book, they purposely put crack cocaine in our neighborhoods to fund some war in Colombia or some stupid shit. Like, this is a targeted, you know, advancement on us as a people to deteriorate us. And they're just going to keep the pattern going. This is just narcissistic abuse. This is a narcissistic abuse on a mass scale. It's the same thing that abusers do to their victims. It's the same thing cult leaders do to their victims. It's just on a mass, worldwide, white supremacist scale. And so nobody's paying attention. You know, nobody has been paying attention, and anytime you bring it up, you get gaslit and things like that. But black women have been paying attention, because if this is how you've been training us since slavery to make us independent and make our men weak by punishing them and punishing them and punishing them, well, look at what's happening now. Now we have found our way into independently healing ourselves. Okay, so hopefully the men catch up. I don't know what to tell you. But this is like a continuation. So when you watch something like They Cloned Tyrone, and you see that they have, you know, satirically put brainwashing shit into the relaxer. They don't have to put, in real life, they're not putting brainwashing shit into the relaxer. What they're doing is they're actively discriminating our hair texture over and over again, like in Louisiana with the Creole women, and they had to wear the scarves because their hair was intimidating the white women. And then they started but see how we leveled up and we decorated the scarves and made it even better than them white people's hair. So the thing is that they treat us like animals. They put us in a box. So in my last video, when we were talking about like how that nigga Denzel Washington's character in Training Day is a bitch, and how he puts people into boxes and then treats them based off the box that he puts them in, which leaves him vulnerable and weak, because you are not considering that these are living sentient beings that can evolve out of this box that you put them in. And when they do evolve, you're not going to be paying attention to their evolution, and you're not going to see it coming when they strike against you. That's what leaves you vulnerable. That's why being an abuser is actually very, very weak, because you are missing out on the humanity of people and how they can evolve and come and get vengeance eventually. And so that's what we've been put under in this entire world, in this big box that white people has put us in. And then when we try to show our humanity and our culture, like especially Black Americans, when we try to show our humanity and our culture, they try to put our culture into a novelty status, like how AAVE is considered slang to white people. They try to minimize our cultural expressions to continue to put us in a box and act like we're not human beings with our own cultural expressions. And they tell all the other Black people around the world in various subliminal and overt ways that our cultural expressions ain't shit either, and they fall for it. And that's why we can't all come together. That's why it's so hard to all come together. So it's the same shit. It's the same shit that just keeps happening. And the only way to beat it is to dig so deep into your Blackness and into your culture and not budge. Not be moved. And then once you bury that root into the ground, you grow that fucking tree, and you keep growing it, and you grow it so strong that nobody can cut it down, nobody can burn it down. You grow that tree of Blackness so strong that nobody can ever knock it over. And then we have our own culture to ourselves, and we may inspire folks, but they'll respectfully be inspired, instead of colonizing and stealing it and saying AAVE is slang. And so we're so brainwashed, but the white people that are also brainwashed, because they're not all actively the reason behind why a lot of white people do minimize our culture and steal our culture and put us in a box isn't always because they know that this is going to hurt us. It's because they've been brainwashed by their own cultural stuff. And because they're not clocking it, they think this ideology is right, and it's okay to treat people, it's okay to other people. They think that's normal. So they created a machine for themselves that keeps spinning, that they have to choose to get out of. But for Black folks, Black women are choosing to get out of that fucking machine. We're choosing to be softer, to take care of ourselves, to not tolerate disrespect and mistreatment just because you want us to baby and mammy you, Black men, a lot of them, for the rest of your fucking lives. And so now you don't have us there to do that for you. You got to learn how to be fucking grown-ups and learn how to be protectors and care for people and shit like that. And you hate it. You hate it because when you're the abuser, when you choose abuse as your coping skill, it's so hard to heal from that, because people that don't choose abuse and they're just passive and people pleasing and whatever, like they just hurt themselves most of the time. Or if they do manipulate, it's like people pleasing and like clingy and needy and shit, but like the person isn't like super duper traumatized as if they were being physically abused or emotionally abused. So it's easier to heal when you don't have bodies of people behind you that you've abused. When you have bodies build up behind you, though, you don't have to just heal yourself. You also have to come to terms with the people that you've hurt. the microaggressions that you've done, the way you've made people feel less than, the little things that you didn't think was a big deal, the sexual assaults that you've done that you didn't consider a sexual assault because she didn't say no, or she just laid there, or she was drunk, or some shit like that. Like, you have to acknowledge it, and then acknowledging it makes you feel like a monster, right? It makes you feel like a monster. So in acknowledging it, you also have to learn how to forgive yourself for being a monster. If you can, make amends, and then move the fuck on. Move on. Not everybody, and accept that not everybody's going to forgive you, or if they do forgive you, not everybody's going to forgive you in a way where they want to be around you. But some people will. Some people that you've harmed, there is a long time period where they will forgive you to the point where they would want to be around you. I think they're just too scared. They're too scared to face that. They're too scared to face the things that they've done, the people that they've hurt. There are things that I've done that I had to forgive myself for and take accountability for, and be like, you know, that was really weird. That was really fucked up. I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have said that. You know, but it feels more freeing to admit to the thing and then actively work on healing the thing than to sit and wallow in the murk and the mire for the rest of my life and never fix it. Like, and so I think that's where a lot of black men are. It's like they have to admit some horrible things to themselves and take accountability for it, and they don't want to. So they live in denial and lashing out and pushing back and things like that. So anyways, they're at the, you know, the hair salon. They're putting it in the perm stuff, and then the gang member, the nigga from P Valley, he pops up. I guess there's a barbershop next door, because he sees Fontaine going in there, and he all threatening and whatever, but like, they gotta go because Jamie Foxx had climbed into the back of that van and shit, right, to see what was back there, and then they had left while them two were arguing or whatever, and he was still in the back of the van, right? So they leave, and they find the van, they find him, they get him out, they see all the products that they putting shit in, and then they end up at a church. I think that there's this old homeless man. His name is Frog, and he's just like the wise oracle of the village. It's magical. He just be telling you shit. He knows the secrets. I love a nigga that knows the secrets. Like, I'm not a gossip, but I love to hear the secrets. You know all the secrets, and I just want to hear. I think it's not that I love the secrets. I love a good story. I love a good tale of a tale. And especially if I'm finding out something that no one else knows, it just makes me feel good inside. Like, look at me, I know things, and I know secrets too now. That's part of why I like being a therapist. Like, I know secrets. You don't got to know the secrets, but I know the secrets, and I heard interesting stories, and it was magical. So I end up at this church, right? And David Alan Grier is at the church. He's on this show on Peacock. It's like this hospital show, and it's so funny. And he's just like this, like, deadpan, like, doctor on the show and shit. This nigga's hilarious. You know, he went to Princeton. This nigga's hilarious. But anyway, so he's the pastor at the church, right? I'm still not watching the Magical Negroes. I'm not. Oh God. Maybe I'll do it just for laughs and then just watch it for free or some shit on the computer. I don't know. It's gonna piss me off though. I'll watch it for free because I'm not giving any no coinage to that tragedy of whatever the fuck they were trying to do. See how we could all see when it's really, really bad, we can all come together and agree. But it has to be so horribly, obviously bad that, like, there's no arguing against it. There's nothing you can say to make this thing better. So he's the pastor at the church, right? And they're in the church listening, and they're realizing that this is kind of weird. Like, why are they twerking in church and shit, right? Jamie Foxx had stole one of the cards from the driver in the van, right? And so I think they figured out it was the church too, because no, they didn't see the map till they got under the church. I don't know how they're figuring out this shit, y'all. I forgot. We're just gonna go. They went here, they went there. I don't know how they figured it out though. So they in the church. So they go and they scan the card and they go downstairs and they in the big main laboratory, right, with all the clones and shit. And that's when they realize that, like, they see one of the girls that got kidnapped earlier in the movie. She was walking into a store, and then all of a sudden, the next scenes, you see her on a wanted paper all over random ass places. And then they see her like doing the Clockwork Orange situation with the eyes open, watching a bunch of white people and videos about what beauty is and shit and beauty standards and all this other weird shit. And so like they go down there, see that they're brainwashing folks to have this like, you know, assimilation mentality. So the ultimate goal of the main nigga, the main Tyrone, is that his brother died, and because of white supremacy and shit, he got shot. And he thinks that assimilating, pushing yourself further into the box, is going to be the thing that fixes it. He didn't see that episode of Lovecraft Country. I'm always going to bring that up. When that bitch turned white and she realized that these people are sociopaths. Oh, they hate themselves. Yes, they hate themselves. You're not going to turn white and then enjoy these people. They're just going to treat you better. It's not because of our skin color, love. It's because they originally hated themselves. That's why they tried to conquer Europe. That's why Rome tried to conquer Europe. That's why the Crusades happened. That's why colonization and slavery, that's why all that shit happened, because they hated themselves first. England tried to like take over Scotland and all of Ireland first because they hate themselves first. The only thing that was different about the Irish was that they had red hair. They had to find something, a reason to direct their hate at. That's all they're doing. They're just finding a reason to direct. Like, in reality, it's just skin color. It literally is just skin color. It's not that big of a deal. Like, if you pull away from your white supremacist mentality and just look at it for what it is, you're afraid of fucking skin color. We're all the same human beings. We're just different skin tones because we migrated to different parts of the world during, you know, the great migration out of Africa. Like, we all started off as black, love. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, they scientifically have proven that the cradle of the world is in Africa. And I think they hate that too. I think low key that this is like revenge for when the Moors came out of Africa and ruled Spain and was going around Europe telling them people how to clean and was showing them that they had better technology and shit like that. I think it planted the seed of hatred in them. And that's how slavery started. Like, I truly do believe that that's the case. But, you know, maybe they were more developed countries in Africa than West Africa. There was more the wherever the Moors came from was more developed, so they were too scared to go into the other parts of Africa, so they just stuck to the west part of Africa where there was more tribal. That's my situation. That's what I think is happening. And so you got these motherfuckers in here, and they got the clones that control the neighborhood, the pastor, the pimp, the drug dealer, the people that are just supposed to keep up the stereotypes of the neighborhood, to keep us apathetic and not wanting to fix anything, right? And so they all up underneath the thing looking, and then they like Yo-Yo wants to do something about it, so they come out one of the entrances, and it's a strip club, and all of a sudden they're in the strip club and the music starts to be funny, right? So most of the people in the strip club are clones, and they have this magical phrase that if you say it, the clones are automatically gonna like listen to you and do whatever you say. Something about quantum black or aqua black or whatever black, orchid black, I don't know. And so like they say it, and the clones start chasing them, right? Or they play something in the music. It was cool because I watched the video, and the director said that he put Morse code into the music that they played in a movie, and the Morse code was something along the lines of "Go get them" and things like that. And so they chased them down. They chased them down in their car. They got the car stopped. They was about to kill them all, and then they stopped them. And then here come the main dude, the nigga from 24, right? And then he's telling them all the secrets, and this is what we're doing, and this is an experiment, and both of y'all niggas is clones, and we can control you. And he almost makes Fontaine shoot himself in the head, and shoot Yo-Yo, and almost shoot her, and shit like that. So once they recognize the seriousness of the situation, the niggas get scared. Fontaine don't want to do this no more. He want to go back to being a hood nigga. Same as Charles. Yo-Yo ready to fight. Of course the black woman is ready to fight. Of course she is. Why wouldn't she be ready to fight? Just like Willie Lynch said. You make us independent. You make us so we're more willing to protect and fight. And we see it every day. I saw this video on TikTok. This woman, older woman, she looked like she may have been in her 50s. She was on a bus, and this white woman was crashing out, and then got up behind her and just had her arm like this around her neck, right? And the black woman was just standing there. I think she was just trying to ground herself. There was a black dude sitting in front, looked behind him, then looked back, didn't want to be involved. Another black dude on the side looked, didn't want to be involved. Nobody helped this woman. Nobody did anything until this black woman turned around and started mollywopping this white woman. Then they wanted to come and separate them. So you wasn't gonna help the black woman when this white woman had her arm around her neck. You came to the rescue of this white woman though. See how insidious white supremacy is? I don't even think they realized what they were doing. And if you called them out on it and make them realize, I bet you they would have been in denial about it and made up some shit. Well, but you protected the white woman. That's why. You didn't protect this black woman when this white woman was damn near choking her and shit. But as soon as she started mollywopping this white woman, and they were basically the same size, average size women, a little chunky, but average size women, right? So one wasn't bigger than the other or anything like that. And so I just, in my spirit, I took a deep, soulful sigh when these cowardly niggas decided that they didn't want to protect anybody. Because why should we? And the black woman did. And I was just like, wow. Look how you illustrated that. Look how I just read it in Willie Lynch's thing. Look how it's still happening to this day. Y'all some cowards. Y'all some fucking cowards. Y'all don't want to stand up for nothing. Not all. But if it concerns protecting a black woman or going against white people in a way, it's almost like y'all be bowing out and shit sometimes, and I just be like, what the fuck? Yeah, we marched and stuff in 2020 and 2012, and we did all those things as a people, but there are certain situations where that same energy should be kept, and it's not. And so maybe doing some soul searching on why that energy is only reserved for marching with hundreds of other people, but in individual situations like this, in the movie, or that, I just said, the black woman that was being choked out by that white woman, why are we just sitting there and not doing anything until the white woman starts to get mollywopped by this black woman? She turned around and started beating her fucking ass. It was magical. It was beautiful. And I would have just stood back and let it happen. I would have just let that bitch get her ass beat. Why are you wilding out on this black woman that's just on the bus minding her business? No one protects us. And so, of course, she's the only one that wants to do something about it. Fontaine goes back home and, he's going to continue his day as normal. Same with Charles. Yo-Yo shows up at Fontaine's house the next day and it's I know where the other entrance is, and we got to figure it out. And he's just looking at her I don't want to do anything about it. Da, da, da. And she's like, but this is your neighborhood too. And he's like, I'm not even a real person. Same with Charles. He's like, I'm not even a real person. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's what I mean when you wallow in the shit that you do instead of just forgiving yourself and moving on. Doing the work to forgive yourself and moving the fuck on so we can get shit done. Like, if you don't forgive yourself, that is going to be your motivation to keep being a monster. Oh, I guess I'm just a monster. I'm just going to keep raping bitches. Like, I guess I'm just a monster. Like, every time I see a serial killer documentary or a movie, there's always this one line that sticks out that the serial killer always says, I just felt like I was a monster and there was nothing I could do about it. So I was just going to keep being a monster. And I'm just like, there is. Like, last week I told you that book, Sociopath, that Patrick Gagney wrote. Like, she was diagnosed with sociopathy, and she said, I'm going to love myself enough to heal. And healing just looked like accepting that emotions are hard for her to feel, but she is going to try her best to work at growing certain emotions so that she can live in the world and be happy. But she's also going to accept that most of the time all she feels is apathy, instead of getting anxious about feeling apathy all the time and then needing to crash out and do something weird to feel an adrenaline rush, to feel something, right? So if this bitch can do that, you can forgive yourself for, like, the times you didn't show up, the times that you didn't care, the times that you hurt people. Forgive yourself. Forgiving yourself does not mean that there won't be consequences when you take accountability for these things. The consequence might be that you lose people. The consequence might mean that you go to jail. Whatever the consequence is, it's a worse consequence to live in prison in your mind for the rest of your life. I'd rather just take the consequences. Even most of the time, the consequence is just me feeling shitty about myself for a while. Because I did some fuck shit. But, like, I'd rather have those consequences than to feel shitty about myself forever and then keep doing the fuck shit. Like, I don't feel like living like that. That's torture. So anyways, she, like, goes back by herself to this thing because she wants to say there's actual children that are and women and men that are not clones in this town that deserve to be protected, and nobody's protecting them, right? So she goes back to do what she needs to do. And then Fontaine and Slick Charles get together. They have a conversation. They realize they need to do some shit too. So he goes to, so this is how, like, the movie plays out, but, like, they show you that it's just like a con after, right? So he goes to the nigga from P Valley, and he's like, I need your help. I need all the gang members to come together and help because this is our neighborhood too, and da-da-da-da-da. And the nigga's like, no, nigga, I'm not gonna help you. And then he shoots him in the shoulder, right? So they send his body back to the little factory lab, and then they create a new version of him, right? So the new version, so what happened really was, ahead of time, they decided that they were going to put on this act so that he could get back into the building. So the P Valley nigga knew that he was a part of it. He was a part of the act, right? And since they was about to break everybody down and fuck that shit up, right? So the P Valley nigga was a part of the act. And so I had to think about it, and I was like, yeah, like they shot that nigga like 11 times. He knew that nigga was dead. So of course that nigga walking Helen Hardy up to him like he ain't been shot 1,100 times in the torso and the legs and shit like that. That probably would give him pause. That's enough evidence to say that there is a laboratory underneath this town that are cloning black people. Because why is this nigga alive, let alone not disabled? So they break into the spot. He gets the doors open, and they all break in, the hood folks, and they start to ransack the shit. They let the clones out, but then, like, the nigga from 24 catches Yo-Yo and Jamie Foxx, and then Fontaine gets dragged, he like gets knocked out, and he gets dragged to his office, right? So when he opens his eyes, he sees like an older version of him. And so that's the original nigga. And so basically this nigga is so scared of white people. It's cowards. No, because see what happens when you let your fear rule you? You're doing shit like this. He's trying to turn black people into white people over generations. So you're trying to get rid of black people when black people are the original people. Like, there are black people out there that are two black parents, and they've been tested and studied, so the children are theirs, okay, who have had white babies. We are the cradle of the earth, nigga. Why are you getting rid of the most important genome on the fucking earth and trying to change it into this shit that burns in the fucking sun because you don't love yourself, you scaredy motherfucker? No, because I'm at the point where I'm gonna die for mine. Like, you ain't about to come up here and make me bow down to whiteness and all, and abusers and fucked up people and shit like that. I'll die for mine. I'm tired. I believe in heaven. Like, this life ain't the only life. Like, I don't want to die. Like, no, I'm not wishing that on myself in the name of Jesus. Don't let me die. But you're not about to like hold nothing over my head to make me do some fuck shit. Cause look what happens. Look how it just nefarious shit just spirals into more nefarious shit, just spirals into more nefarious shit. Now you try to make all the black people in the world white people. You got me fucked up. Or let's put it in real life terms. Now you're married to somebody that wants to have slave play every time you have sex with them and wants to call you a niggeress. And you're just going along because at least I have somebody. Bitch, be alone. You don't love yourself more than that? Okay, I can't do nothing for you if you don't love yourself more than that. I hope you eventually love yourself more than that and see that this man here is got some shit going on, and you don't know where that's going to snowball eventually if he already wants to call you niggeress in the bedroom. I don't know what to tell you, love. But people don't see it. They don't see the patterns. Like, okay, I'm gonna do one more from the Willie Lynch thing because I just find it so interesting. Like, I'm reading the present in the past. It's the present. Okay. This one really fucked me up, right? Crossbreeding niggers means taking as many drops of good white blood and putting them into as many nigger women as possible, varying the drops by various tones that you want, and then letting them breed with each other until a circle of color appear as you desire. What this means is this. Put the niggas and the horse in the breeding pot, mix some asses and some good white blood, and what do you get? You get a multiplicity of colors, ass backward, unusual niggers running tied to backward ass long-headed mules. The production of itself, the other sterile. The one constant, the other dying, we keep the nigger constant, for we may replace the mule for another tool, both mule and nigger tied to each other, neither knowing where the other came from and neither productive for itself, nor without each other. So we just like, they literally plotted and planned this shit out, and it's still happening in the same exact way, and motherfuckers is co-signing. They purposely, that one drop rule came from Willie Lynch talking about mix some droplets of white blood so that niggers get confused and they hate each other and they're running in circles fighting each other and they're not paying attention to the white man. Like, and there's nothing wrong with mixed people. There's nothing wrong with biracial people. It's the fact that colorism still exists and y'all not clocking when you're around colorists. You're not clocking that you're interacting with colorists. You're not clocking internalized colorism. Like, for the longest time, when I was a kid, I really wanted straight hair and light skin. I wanted straight long hair and I wanted to be light skin. I didn't want to be white. Just wanted to be light skin. And just looking back on it, I just want to hug my younger self because I just didn't like myself. I didn't like myself. And I just hate that I had that period of time. And the thing is, I had a mom that was always calling me beautiful. Like, one time, like, she compared me to Beyonce. I have no idea what the fuck was going on in that moment. Like, but she compared me to Beyonce. She's like, you're more beautiful than Beyonce. And I was just like, oh, okay, no. Let's not compare. We're just different people, you know? I was like 12 or 13 or some shit. And I was just looking at her like, what the fuck is you talking about? And then she would say shit like that would make it a little bit overboard to where it was hard for me to believe. And then it would just felt like your mom's just saying shit, girl, because she's your mom. Like, I don't know. So I didn't grow up in a household that diminished blackness. I was surrounded by that in my school environment and in the media and shit like that. So you don't have to grow up in a household that diminishes your blackness. You just have to experience it outside and on the television. And then, like, never having a boyfriend in high school, never having a love interest during that time, like, and then watching other people have love interests and being like, what the fuck is wrong with me and shit like that. Now I know it's because I was weird too. It's like I was really pretty and I didn't know I was pretty. And so, like, I didn't realize that as soon as I opened my mouth and started talking about, like, Ren and Stimpy and shit, and I was 15. That's off-putting, bitch. Like, to other people that are neurotypical. Like, it's off-putting. Like, niggas don't know how to interact with that when they're neurotypical and they're trying to pretend to be cool for everyone else. And cool kids don't watch Ren and Stimpy. Well, bitch, I watch Ren and Stimpy. That was a good-ass fucking show, bitch. And so, like, now I know what it was. And, like, just that kids are assholes. And so there was nothing wrong with me. But the fact that I had to unpack that, you know how I stopped wanting straight hair? I bought some wigs, right? Some lace fronts. I was doing it up. I was wearing my little lace fronts. And I was just like, the hair was everywhere. Them little stringy bits that would get on my face. And it would just be every fucking where. And I just was like, I can only wear a wig for, like, I need one of them, like them, and that's what I started to buy, one of them, like, what is it? The ones that you don't have to glue down. They look like seamless and shit. The lace fronts that look seamless or whatever the fuck, that look like real whatever the fuck in the front. I had to start buying those because, like, I don't even be wearing them shits anymore. Like, they just be hanging up in there because they were expensive. So if I do want to go somewhere and wear one of them motherfuckers, I will, because they were expensive. I'm not just gonna. They were fucking expensive. I had this whole fixation at one point. I was wearing wigs. It was crazy. I look cute though, even though I couldn't get the edges right. Because I didn't want that shit glued to my forehead. I was scared I was gonna lose my edges. So I would just try my best to just, like, slick it down a little bit and just leave it. And then over the course of the day, it would slowly just come up because I have oily skin. And I just hated it. It was just like stringy hair all over me and shit. Like, this is up. Like, this could be as long as I want to grow it out and it'll never be in my face. Or hanging on my neck if I don't want it to. Like, it was overstimulating. Like, and then I just started to realize I couldn't have this type of hair, like, growing out of my head. I would be bald. I would have a pixie cut. I would not want that shit hanging on me all the fucking time. Stringy shit. Hair was just falling out and shit. And you'd be picking up pieces of hair. Like, it was gross. I hated it. Like, and that's how I realized that I don't want it. And then as I was getting older, I realized that I was looking young. And lighter skinned people were looking either their age or older than their age. And I was like, oh, the darkness keeps me youthful. Not all, okay? Not all, okay? Like the daughter of that nigga that married Beyonce's mom and then they got a divorce. What's her name? And she just don't age. She don't age. Like sometimes it's genetics, but like for some of them light skinned folks, you can start to see the crow's feet and there's nothing wrong with aging, okay? So I'm not saying it. I'm just saying for myself, how I learned to love my blackness was I learned what was unique and beautiful about my blackness, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep this. You don't gotta like me. I like me. And then I started realizing that these niggas were brainwashed by white supremacy and they weren't going to be over that for a long time. And so all that had nothing to do with me or how I looked or anything. And so now I just live my life and God's going to send me my husband because obviously it's a miracle with so many niggas out there that are broken. I'm not going to be able to pick the right one by myself. It's not possible. And I'm not about to go on date after because that's exhausting. It's overstimulating. I don't know how motherfuckers can keep rosters. Like, I can barely stand one man in my life, even casually. Like, how you got 5 niggas? They're emotional. Like, how you dealing with 5 emotional niggas? Like, I guess you can keep a separation emotionally between you and them, but for me, I can't do that. Like, I'll crash out and cuss all 5 of them niggas out and be like, you know, you need to leave me. And then I'm not gonna be talking to niggas for a while after that because. So no, like, I had to come to terms with the things that were internalized from white supremacy and realize that the way I was moving through the world was not healthy and it was not okay. And I need to figure out a way to love myself. And so, like, I did a lot of work to do that. These niggas ain't out here doing that work. Like, I had to go to therapy. I had to do EMDR. I had to learn about Black history and learn about why we are the way we are and learn about how, like, they talking about putting drops of blood into these motherfuckers so they can all be different colors and they can be confused amongst themselves. Like, the same we are confused. We are still confused amongst ourselves, love. Like, fix it. Like, Black women are fixing it. You can fix it. You can. I believe in you, Black man. I do. And a lot of y'all are out there trying. A lot of y'all are. I ain't met them niggas, but I haven't. I don't care what you're talking about. Every single Black man I've met has shown me in some way they just got some more work to do. And, you know, it's not like they're like, I'm not saying every single Black man I've met are monsters, but they got some slight work to do here and there. Like, you in a relationship, you married, but you giving me signs that I could fuck you if I wanted to. I feel bad for your wife, love. I feel bad for your girlfriend. Like, that's happened to me so many times. These married motherfucking niggas. Why is always, it's like they need a challenge. They feel so insecure just being with one woman, and so they need to remind themselves that they're the Mac. And I'm just like, why? God, bad for your wife and your girlfriend. See, that's why wives and girlfriends be so jealous, because they were single once too and being hit on by every married nigga they came across. And it's not obvious. It's very subtle. It's a graze here, a look there, an uncomfortable conversation here and there. And the thing is that the women that they're with are not going to believe you. So you have to handle it yourself and be the bigger person and try to stay as far away from that motherfucker as possible. You ain't cheating with me, love. You can find another bitch. You ain't cheating with me. I'm not about to be a part of that shit. And so, like, you got niggas out here that'll like just be saying like little subtle things that'll be subconsciously colorist, but be the nicest motherfuckers out there about everything else, but will say little subconscious or only date white women and shit like that, never dated a Black woman in their life, or like these are the things that we see. We see you. We can see you, love. Your behaviors are telling on you. And they not clocking that their behaviors are telling on them. Your behaviors are knee-jerk reactions that are attached to your nervous system. And so that means that's who you are until you clock it and fix it. So I don't understand what the problem is. But they don't want to fix it. They don't want to fix these little subtle things that they do, or these extroverted things that they do, or the mid things that they do to let us know that they still got some work to do. You got some work to do, love. And like I said, they're not like the Black men I've come across are not bad people. They just got some shit going on. They got some work. Like the ones that like if I do happen to flirt with a man or just have a conversation. I had a conversation with a dude once. I met off, I think it was Tinder. It was a few years ago. And we got to the talking on the phone stage, right? And the first phone call the first and last phone call we had, I was chipper. I picked the phone. I was chipper. I was asking questions, but slowly over the course of the conversation, I just noticed it was getting more and more aggressive, like more and more like defensive and shit. And I was just asking him simple shit like, oh, like, what do you like to do for fun? Or like, what do you... And I was just like, why is he getting so... And then at some point I was able to hang up the phone and we never talked on the phone again. Like, there's niggas out there that treat me manly. They like slap me on the back and like, I'm not a fucking man, bitch. Cause I'm tall and I'm dark skinned and I have kinky hair. Like, I'm a lady, love. And like, don't do that. I hate that. And I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just know that me being cordial and not maintaining conversations with you, that's the sign that I don't really fuck with you like that. I don't really, cause you got some work to do, love. And you triggering me, and I'm not about to crash out in public. And so if I have to pull back from you because you're going to keep doing stuff that's triggering me, and then I'm going to crash out in public, and then everybody else is going to think that what you did was fine. Like, he just slapped you on the back. He just, like, what's the big deal? And I'm gonna be like, this motherfucker here. And then I'm gonna be the one that looks crazy. And so I have to pull back. Because the married niggas that be making advances, subtle advances and shit, I have to pull back or I'm gonna cuss you the fuck out. The next advance, I'm gonna cut. Like, there have been times that, cause I'm like, I don't know if it's because I'm an Aries, I'm neurodivergent, I'm gullible, I'm naive sometimes when I'm comfortable. There have been times where, like, me being relaxed and kind, for some reason, translates as I'm flirting. I have no idea what the fuck's going on with that. I don't want to read into it. Y'all got some shit going on, you need to fix it. And then all of a sudden, I'm thinking I made a friend. This is cool. We having conversation. And then the next thing you know, that like weird things start happening. And I'm not responding to the weird things. And then all of a sudden, the nigga gets cold. Used to be able to say hi to this nigga. And sometimes he says now, and he used to always say hi to you back. And now sometimes you say hi, he may say hi, or he may just walk on by like he didn't fucking hear you. And I'm just, okay. I hate that shit too. You say hi to somebody, they just look at you like, and then look away like, do I not be friendly? I'm just gonna not be friendly with you. I'm just gonna be cordial and polite like the humans want me to be, and move on. And it happens with niggas, and I don't know, because they be reading into me instead of just taking me for what I'm showing you. You can take me at face value because I'm telling you who I am, love. Like, you don't have to read too much into me. Like, the only time I crash out and look like weird and shit is when I actually have a crush on somebody. I don't get crushes because my crushes aren't crushes, they're fixations. And then they turn into obsessions, and it becomes a problem because most of the time the fixations and the obsessions aren't fixated and obsessed with me. And so now I'm stuttering when I'm around you, or I'm just high and buying you, or I'm not saying anything to you at all. I'm acting like you're not even in the fucking room because I don't want to crash out and start doing weird shit because I like you. So we're just gonna act like you don't exist. And that looks weird. I know. That's why I don't get crushes. What? That's why I don't get crushes, because that looks weird and crazy. You have to come up to me and take your chances, and may the odds be ever in your favor. And I hope that you take rejection well if they're not, because if you don't, damn it, now I gotta defend myself and shit, and hopefully not physically. Like, the fuck. So no, like, I haven't met too many black men that I've had long conversations with who still don't have some little bit of work to do. And so, it was not a surprise that they were cowardly lions. Mm-hmm. Y'all are still lions. You guys got to dig deep for the lion inside of you. But you don't want to do that. You let the cowardly come out instead of the lion. So I don't know what to tell you. So anyways, this nigga here wants to assimilate all the black people and turn them white. They want to dig deeper into the box and just live in it. And that's disgusting to me. Let's just get rid of all individuality, get rid of all cultural expression that belongs to you as an individual culture, and live in this box of whiteness. Ew, disgusting. I'd rather just not experience that ever in life. And then find out that these white people, just like whatchamacallit on Lovecraft Country, find out that a lot of them hate themselves, and that you're still going to experience some form of discrimination, or it's just going to be bullying now. Now it's just going to be like bullying. It's not going to be like discrimination unless like you're a woman, or like, I don't know, you got red hair or some shit. But if you end up turning into a white cis male, it's just going to be bullying now, or you're going to have to conform to their narcissistic cultural expression. And that's what a lot of black men do. They will conform to the white narcissistic cultural expression because they think that that's how they're going to get ahead, until they're fully ensconced in whiteness and they're not paying attention to the fact that these people don't actually like you. And then all of a sudden you end up being the scapegoat for some bullshit. And it may take years before you're the scapegoat. That they get you nice and tenderized and comfortable and shit, and then you end up being a scapegoat for some shit, and you end up being fired, you end up being in jail for decades and shit like that, because you thought that being this way and being within whiteness and the narcissistic tendencies of whiteness was going to get you ahead. And I feel bad for you, love. I do. I hate it for you. And so, like, Fontaine just sitting there looking at this nigga talk about how he wants to make every black person white, and he's like, "Oh hell no!" So he says the keyword to the clone that's standing next to the nigga, and the clone shoots this nigga dead. He's dead now. I mean, I hope they set the place on fire. If that's the main facility, at least they burn some records and shit like that too, because they could just continue doing this shit. He said, and the director said he didn't want to have a sequel, and if there was a sequel, it would just be like a whole different story, like the three of them owning a pizza shop or some shit. And I'm just like, okay, well, it's your artistic expression, love. It's okay. We don't even need a sequel. Let's not do. No, because I don't know what else happens. And you up here talking about, oh, it's gonna be a whole different story. We already know that there's clones, that they're just gonna own a pizza shop and shit. And I'm just like, okay, so. You keep that, and I'm just gonna keep this movie and watch that. That's fine. I'm not saying it would be a bad movie. It would just be like anticlimactic. You would never reach the climax. You would never get to the bottom of it, or like, are they gonna get rid of these white people? Like. So anyways, he kills the nigga. They all go to the top and release the clones, and it's all on the news and shit. And then then they decide to go to Memphis, Mississippi, something with an M, Missouri, and to explore the world, or whatever the fuck they decide to do. And then we skip to Tyrone. So this is Tyrone at the end of the movie. He's another clone in Los Angeles. It's interesting because when he's driving around a car, they're playing like some mind control rap song, like you're a slave to me or some shit like that. And so I was just like, they trying to illustrate how it's in rap music, and I'm not going against rap music. Like, I like rap music and stuff like that. It's not that. It's just the things that we perpetuate, the violence, the aggression, the lack of consent, the sexual aggression and things like that. There's nothing wrong with making art around things like that, but when it's so it's just all over, and like, I don't even know what I want to say, because I'm not mad at rap music. I don't think it's about one thing. Yeah, I think it's more so that we perpetuate it in the way that we treat each other. Like, I don't think it's about the music. I don't think it's the perm. Like, the perm is like, if we loved ourselves enough, a lot of us wouldn't be getting perm, but some of us still would, because it's a quick way to straighten your hair. It's not about the objects. It's not about the video games making motherfuckers violence. It's about the kids that are violent, not having an outlet or anybody to talk to. It's about how we care for each other. And they're not allowing us to care for each other. They want us to see each other as monsters, so that we never can come together and work together to have a better world. And that's been the machine that's been running since slavery, and nobody wants to clock it and like fix it as a mass, as a whole community of people. And so that's how it keeps running. Like, that's what it is. It's not the perm, it's not the rap music, it's not the video games. It's the system that doesn't allow you to build, resources. And so you are always in survival mode. And when you're in survival, they want us to evolve like they evolved in the Ice Age, when they all went to Europe in the Ice Age and was living in the cold. And when you live in the cold, there's not enough space to evolve and grow artistically, scientifically, things like that, because you're always in survival mode, worried about freezing to death and getting enough food for your family for the season. Like, there was little things like they painted on the walls and shit like that, but they're like they were in the cold. Like, there wasn't enough. Like that's why in Africa they had like sewer systems and shit like that, and they were evolving and learning because it's hot. Like it's hot, and so we ain't got to worry too much about. There's plentiful green, there's plentiful animals, there's plentiful everything that gives you a nesting ground for creativity and growth and shit, nigga. And so like they want us to be in survival mode and evolve into self-hatred like they did, because that's what abusers do. They don't want to be alone in it. And so when they see, that's why they can't leave black people alone when we go off and do our own thing. That's why they bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's why every time we tried to build, that's why they tore down the black villages in Central Park, because everybody is running off of these motions and they're sensitive, and they see us over here thriving and they're over here not bathing, stinky, unhappy. Their husband is beating them and they got to stay with them and shit like that. And the women are like being mistreated, and the men are like sad and miserable because they're in poverty and shit. And they see this town of black folks with doctors and lawyers and shit down the way, and they want to blow that bitch up. Like they don't want us, they can't stand to see people thriving. That's what bullies do. So Trump is out here like trying to destroy everything that was built to help people that are impoverished, not just black people, people that are of color that are going through things, and poor white folks. He wants to destroy anything that will build them up because he's an abuser. He's an abuser. And so you know, the only way out of all of this is to stand on business when it comes to your culture and your cultural expressions and the individuality in your culture, and finding the beauty in our culture, and fighting against the white supremacist brainwashing that's been put on us. Why do you think rap music is bad? Why do you think kinky hair is bad? Ask yourself questions, explore yourself. Like really ask yourself, why do you think that's bad? Why are you saying shit online like black women with colorful hair is ugly? Like why are you saying shit online about like gay niggas and shit? Why are you saying shit? Why does that bother you when they're not in your house? Because it's wrong. Well, like, but they're not bothering you. They're not in your space. So why would you think that was wrong? They're not trying to harm you. They're just out there living their own life, minding their business. So why does it bother you to see other people minding their business? You're not exploring yourself. Why have I never dated a black woman? Why is that? Where does that come from? How did that originate in me that I don't do that? And then reverse engineer that shit and fix it. Even if like you might have to go to therapy. I don't know what you have to do, but black women are doing it. We're figuring it out in mass. We're figuring it out, and they hate it. That's why the men are crashing out, because they hate that we won't mammy them. They hate it, and that's none of my business. I don't give a fuck what you think. Shit. I want to protect her. I want a nigga that see a white bitch choking me out and will stomp that bitch into the ground like a fucking pancake, bitch. Like, I want a nigga that'll put his life on the line for me, because I would do the same. I would do the same if some shit was happening to you. Like, and so, you know, but that's my love for blackness and black men. They don't have the same for us. And so they should figure that out. A lot of them need to sit and have a soul searching session with themselves and figure that the fuck out. So Tyrone's riding around the city doing his little drug, whatever the fuck. And he's sitting on the couch with his friends and he's watching television. And he sees the clones in the little Glen area. And then one of the clones look like him. And then his friend looks at him and be like, "That's you, Tyrone." And the movie's over. Like, you leave it on, but like the director talking about like he don't want to pick it back up. But you left it on a cliffhanger and shit. Why you leave it on a cliffhanger? Like, sew it up, nigga. Like, even though I'm not really that fond of the movie Sinners, like, you know, Ryan Coogler stood on business and he said that it was sold up at the end. That was it. And the end of that movie, it could have been either or. He could make a sequel if he wanted to, but it's not a cliffhanger. It's not like, oh, what's gonna happen next? No, like, all you know is him and his white woman go off into the ether and be, you know, vampires forever. Okay, like, that's it. Like, okay. And so I don't like when directors do shit like leave shit on a cliffhanger. Like, okay, so who is this Tyrone? Like, what's gonna happen next? Like, he's watching the show and shit. I just that's not my thing. But like, that's the way he sews it up, and so I'm not gonna be mad about it. That's not my art. But I guess that would be the only thing I would say about the movie that I didn't like is the end, because the end is on a cliffhanger and I have questions. Like, how you gonna say that this is sold up but it's not really sold up? It's like, I have and then you said if you're gonna have a sequel, you're gonna have it about completely something different. Then why even show this nigga? Like, you playing games with people's emotions. So that would be the only like real like critique. Like, why you didn't sew it up right? Like, why you didn't? If you're not gonna make a sequel, or you gonna make a sequel that ain't got shit to do with the actual movie, the first movie, like, it's just gonna have the same characters. Like, why wouldn't you just, you know? But whatever, it's fine. Maybe I'll do a Jordan Peele movie next. I haven't done Get Out. I don't think I want to do Get Out. I'm gonna do Get Out next. I haven't seen that movie since it came out, because it was just, you know, the movies that just be disturbing, like the like the Central Park. What are there, 9 of them? I don't know, but I didn't even finish that. I couldn't. It was so traumatic. I couldn't finish the Central Park show on Netflix. I'm a sensitive soul. I can't be sitting up here watching. That's a real story. I mean, I know they got out and they living their life, and one of them married a reality TV star, and then they got divorced. It was a whole situation. But like, I don't care. I don't want to see that. I like to see them now, happy and alive and well and doing great with their lives and out of jail. And hopefully, I think they got a big settlement and all that other stuff, and it's magical for them. That's all I want to see. Happy endings, bitch. We all do Get Out. I mean, it's a scary movie. It's a good movie, because I have some commentary about that white woman. No, the way she was eating the cereal at the end. What did she do? She like dipped it in the milk and then there are so many white sociopaths and serial killers and shit that they be having in these movies, and they always got something to do with milk. What is it with white people and milk? I'm going to look that up, and if I find anything about it, I'm going to do a whole monologue about why they got milk with these white serial killers. No, because that nigga off The Boys, he was like breastfeeding, y'all. Like, that was his fetish. His fetish was to breastfeed. Like, sir, what is that? What is that? Oh, I mean, he has a lot of other issues and shit. Like, the man got some emotional distress and he uses it to kill people. But like, the breastfeeding was the worst part for me. There's a lot of bad parts. Apparently in the comic books, he eats babies or but for some reason, that grown-ass man fetishizing breast milk to that point. Like, I could see, like, a couple is together and a nigga want to try some shit and they had a baby and the nigga want to try it. But, like, the way it just was, like, he was fiending for it and then acting like a baby and shit. And I was just like, what happened to you, love? Like, who hurt you? I mean, they showed who hurt you, but damn, like, you just sucking on that titty meat. Like, I hate it. No, but I never read the Willie Lynch letter, and now that I've read it, I'm disgusted. Like, Dr. Umar always be talking about it and shit, but, you know, like, he just always be talking about random shit, and I don't be paying attention to what he says unless it's funny. You know, because he's like a homophobe and shit, and then sometimes he says good things about black women, and then sometimes he says some fuck shit about black women, so it sounds wishy-washy, and so I don't even be paying attention to him like that. But like, he be bringing up the Willie Lynch letter, and then I've heard it somewhere else, like other people bring it up, but it's like little bits and pieces, and so like, I never sat and actually read that shit, and I am appalled. Everybody so he was this slave master from like British Columbia or from somewhere on the East Coast, right? And he wrote this letter to slave masters in Virginia. The way it's written, like the psychological da 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 that he puts in that motherfucker, tells me that he was experimenting on his slaves. He was psychologically experimenting on his slaves. I am so assured that he was before he came to those conclusions. You know, different ways to manipulate and harm a person before you break them. He considered them to be horses. He considered them to be just like breaking a horse. That's where your weakness lies, because people aren't horses and our minds are able to evolve and grow and change. And when you hurt people for a long period of time, you're not building up a broken person that's going to just be weak-minded and enslaved forever. What you're building up is a soldier of war that will grow resentment over time and start to slowly hate you. But you're not going to consider that they could possibly do that or possibly go against you. Because you thought that this method broke them completely and broke them for generations to come. So because you're in that mindset, and then even if you step slightly out of that mindset, you're still going to use the same tactics. So we already know what the plan is. Like, we already know what they're going to do to fight against us being better people. So we already can plan ahead for that. Like, it's not going to change. Like, the only thing that they could possibly do to change is pretend to be nice in the beginning. That's love bombing. Love, like, we already know what that is. There's nothing you can do. Like you can't kill us all. Like, no, like, there's nothing you can do if we all in mass decided to be better people and love ourselves and our culture and, you know, put a wall up and embrace ourselves for a while behind that wall before we open the door and let anybody else in. And so, you know, I just am appalled. Like, when I was reading that shit about putting the little white droplets and mixing it all together to make fucked up black people, and I was just like thinking about all the colorist shit I be seeing on television and how like niggas be talking about dark skinned women on television, and they just really believe it. They really believe the rhetoric. And I hate it. I hate that for them, you know, like I hate it for the pick-me women that are out there still believing the rhetoric, still believing that they're supposed to be subservient and allow niggas to harm them and, you know, never grow or change or never have a life outside of getting a husband and shit. Like, I hate that. I hate that for all of them. It's gross. So yeah, this movie just kind of illustrated that in a sci-fi way. Anyway, let me want to duke it out. I think I am. I've been thinking about it. Sometimes I just be ruminating over a movie for a while and be like, I think I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm gonna do it. Yep. I just randomly picked this movie. I didn't even really. I've been having like a depression 2 months and shit, so I'm not really on top of shit like I'm supposed to be. It just hit out of nowhere. No, a month and a half. Ever since midway through my trip to Ireland, just feeling like ugh. So all I want to do is relaxing things and like maybe like some wellness stuff. And sleeping. That's all I want to do. That's all I've been wanting to do for the past month and a half is sleeping and wellness and maybe art occasionally. So this week I really didn't want to do a video, but then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just any mini mighty mo. You know, they cloned Tyrone. But I was able to learn some shit from this. I didn't know. Like I said, I never read the Really Lynch letter. I thought it was a book, and it was gonna be long as shit, and it was gonna be some fuck shit. And I didn't want to read some long racist fuck shit book. But it was short. You know, I found a PDF online. It's like 60 pages. I skimmed through a lot of it because there was a lot of niggers this and niggers that, and rape black women and torture black men and cut off niggas' penises. And I don't think he said cut out, but you know, it probably said some maim and torture, and like you reading a manual on how to torture motherfuckers and shit. Like one part was just like find the biggest buffest black nigga. So this is how you scare and all the other niggas, all the other black men in the slave hut. So they'll be subservient to you. You find the biggest, buffest black nigga, the strongest ox-looking motherfucker, and then you tie him up between two horses and you let the horses rip him in half. And then I think he said cut off his penis or some shit. And then all the other motherfucking niggas will be afraid of you and won't want to like fight you and rebel because they don't want to get ripped in half by horses. And I was just like, these motherfuckers are psychopaths. Who writes some shit like that? Who the fuck writes some shit? A psychopath, love. This is like a psychological manual on how to manipulate and torture people. And it's working still to this day. And he even said it would. He said it was going to work for generations, thousands of years. They're going to be like this. And we are. Only the black women are fixing themselves in mass. Like the rest of the niggas are just, what are y'all doing? We shouldn't have a week where we got 4 motherfucking famous black niggas in trouble or in jail for raping, beating, maiming black women. We should not have that. We shouldn't. It's not normal. That is not normal. Okay? We gotta handle our own shit. Like, the reason why white people keep getting over on us is because we're not handling our own shit and setting boundaries. We're not handling our own shit and setting boundaries on a grander scale. Why aren't these rich niggas getting together? Why aren't these rich black people getting together like Netflix saved fucking Sesame Street and saving Job Corps? We got black niggas that are like billionaires and shit. Like, that would be a tax write-off. That would be charity. Like, you probably get back some shit on your taxes and shit. Like, why aren't you saving Job Corps? Why aren't you coming together as rich? Because us poor people aren't gonna be able to do that. Compared to rich niggas, I'm poor. Okay, us poor people aren't gonna be able to save Job Corps. Okay, you need money. These rich niggas be like, well, why can't all of y'all do it? And because you need money, and motherfuckers like me are just trying to survive. You don't have to survive. Okay. Why aren't the Beyoncés of the world saving Job Corps? Why aren't we doing that? You know, I'm tired. Someone said, oh, well, they could just go to a trade school. Job Corps gave you free housing because some of these kids were transient and being kicked out of their homes and they needed a place to go. And they gave you free housing while you were there learning a trade and learning how to, write a resume and get a job eventually. No, was it all peaches and cream? There was sexual assault and abuse going on in the corporation. But there's sexual assault and abuse going on in every big corporation. That doesn't mean get rid of, like, there's sexual assault and abuse going on in universities. And does that mean get rid of all the colleges, or does that mean that we need to crack down on this shit and arrest these people and do something about it and shit so that this place can be pure? I'm tired. It's gonna be a while before I get a husband. Oh well, I have fun. I have a good time. It's okay. God's gonna send it when it's time. When I'm ready, it's gonna be a surprise. And it's gonna be at a time, because this is how God gives me shit. It's gonna be at a time where I least expect it, and a time when I'm most deserving of it, and at a time where it's gonna feel the most good to finally run into this person that's supposed to be my husband. So I don't want to miss out on that. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient. Cause look at what we have. Look what we have to work with. When he said, when Fontaine was like, I don't want to fight these white people anymore, I was just like, nigga. But this black woman is immediately ready to go in here and give her body for this fight. They could have just killed her immediately. They locked her in a room and shit. But it's a movie. If this was anything in real life, they would have killed her immediately. What do they need her for? What do they need her for? Talking about, oh, we're gonna do experiments on you and shit. Like, they could have just kidnapped someone else to do experiments on. It's not that serious. It's because it's a movie. He kept keeping motherfuckers alive. Like, in real life, this bitch would have been risking her fucking life. And we do that so often. We put ourselves in harm's way to protect others, to protect the world. I'm so glad that we're deciding to just pull back. let these motherfuckers eat themselves and just focus on you and your own survival and your own peace of mind as much as possible, because we all can't be like the soft life where we can just take vacations. Some of us, soft life just looks like on the weekends you go to Barnes and Nobles and you sit up in that bitch and you read like 3 books. And you listen to some music and you drink some coffee, and that's what you did, and it was nice because it was away from the house for a little bit, and it was nice. That's the type of shit I used to do when I was poor. I used to take the bus all the way up PCH, and from San Pete, from Harbor City or Lomita, all the way up PCH to Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, and I'll just walk around for the day. I think I walked all the way from like Redondo to Manhattan Beach once on the strip, just cause I needed peace. So if that's all your soft life can look like for right now, then do it, please. God, find some time to sit in the bathroom for 5 minutes and turn some music on real loud and just scream. That could be your soft life, and you just do that once a day. Whatever it looks like, love, and then just do it consistently. Find a number of consistent times to do that shit once a week to just let it out. Let out some steam. You know, get away. Go do something that your nervous system can relax for a few hours. Something like that. Take a nap. The fuck, you can't leave the house. You got all these kids and shit. If you can get them to do their own thing for 2 hours, take a nap. Even just 20 minutes, just take a nap. Just be like finding moments where you can just have it to yourself. That's soft too. That's soft too. The fuck, like doing your best, you know? Cause these niggas ain't out here doing all that. They running off fumes and shit, and the fumes stink because a lot of them think that wiping between their ass cheeks in the shower is gay. And so all you can do is find moments of peace and softness, because for a lot of us it's gonna be a long time. It is, and that's okay. Long time before you have a helpmate, someone to just come along and just help and take care of and protect and let you be you at the same time while you do the same for them and shit. Nigga, like, for some of us it's gonna be a long time, and for some of us we can just be by ourselves and shit and be fine, and that's perfectly fine for them motherfuckers. That ain't me. That's not me. I'm not one of them motherfuckers. Like, I can be by myself, like, but like forever. It's like when Issa Rae went on Twitter during the pandemic and she was like, I'm an introvert, but like I like to choose to be an introvert. Like, this, I ain't got no fucking choice. Like, I'm going crazy. Yeah, right, exactly. Like, forever, like that ain't it. That's not what I want for me and mine. That's not what any part of me wants. So anyways, yeah, I think I might do Get Out next week. Maybe. Don't hold your breath though, because sometimes like the Taraji P. Henson movie is coming out on Netflix. I'm waffling because tragic black women movie. I just don't wanna. I don't have it. I don't have the energy. Like, Get Out's like a horror movie. It's scary. Tragic black woman just makes me think of like the ways that my life is tragic and how it's been tragic, and how there's other black women in my life who are experiencing tragedy and like they don't have a helpmate and shit. I don't know. I might just watch Get Out and call it, you know, because I don't, she run around screaming, her baby gone, something. She holding up a hospital because she ain't got no money. Like, it sounds like, you know, John, what is that movie with Denzel Washington and his son needed a heart transplant or some shit, John Q. It sounds like some shit like that, but like a black woman and she don't need a heart transplant. I don't know. John Q had me anxious too. I might just watch Get Out, you know. It's leaning more and more towards oh God. I'm so glad they did the ending that they chose. Like they didn't put that whatever ending that he put that he said that nigga died. I was just like, please let him be the final boy. Like it's okay. Let him. He can live. Glad you did that. I'm glad you made. He probably flipped a coin or some shit. What if that was made off of a flipped coin and shit, and we could have had a fucked up? Why would you leave it up to fate like that? I believe that shit too now. Like that's canon. I don't care. I believe he flipped a coin. I believe in my spirit that nigga flipped a fucking coin. We could have had a fucked up ending to Get Out. Nigga, he would have been shot 11 times in the chest and been on the ground, and they would have took all his organs that didn't have bullets in it. That would have been the end of the movie. Just like Slim and what's that movie? Slim and Thick. Where I put the thing? Like that wasn't a love story. They were murdered at the end. Nigga, like I hated that fucking movie. The love parts were nice, but like why? Like they got murdered. Like they were like the murder was so traumatic that it was almost like they were punishing them for loving each other. I hated it. The devil. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review. Later days.